Infrastructural development, industrialization, urbanization, and intensive agriculture have created barriers in many landscape ecological pathways. Conservation of biodiversity, therefore, not only means protection of habitats and ecosystems, but also maintenance of ecological links between them. In other words, the protection of the overall ecological network.
The idea to conserve or develop ecological networks is growing all over the world. As some birds are migrating over long distances, the networks they need can span continents. The African-Eurasian Migratory Waterbirds Agreement protects 170 bird species that migrate from Africa to Europe yearly.
The countries that lie along this route are working together to protect the breeding, resting and wintering sites of these birds. Another global initiative to ensure the protection of birds has been developed by BirdLife International. Important bird areas are sites of international importance for the conservation of birds throughout their biogeographical range.
European countries have also decided to join forces to protect nature. In 1995, they commonly agreed to establish the Pan-European Ecological Network. This network should protect all internationally important animals, plants and habitats in Europe. The network will consist of internationally protected areas designated under European Union law called the Natura 2000 network, as well as areas designated under the Berne Convention called the Emerald Network. Also, the less strict protected areas will form a part of the network.
Many European countries have created their own national networks as their way to contribute to the creation of the Pan-European network. The concept of an ecological network forms the basis of the Nature Policy Plan of the Netherlands. The Netherlands is a densely populated country with 16 million people living in a small area. Over the last century, the intensity of land use has strongly increased.
Consequently, the areas of nature left in the Netherlands have become islands in an intensively used agricultural and urbanized landscape. The ecological pathways between them have largely been broken. Because of the relatively small size of the remaining areas of nature, they also suffer from negative external influences such as eutrophication and desiccation.
As a result, the country has seen a steady decline of biodiversity over the last century or so. Now here, we have an example of that. See this little guy? This is a fishing otter. Now, unfortunately, this is the only place we'll be seeing this one. On a tile, because he's no longer around. As goes for this beautiful creature, the elk. Also nowhere to be seen or found anymore. And this is where we can make a difference. Here we have a flower that can still be found in certain areas of the Netherlands. It's called the snake's head, but if we don't do something quick, it won't be found for very much longer. And that's why in the Nature Policy Plan of the Netherlands, attempts are being made to restore an overall ecological network.
Some of these core areas need to be restored by taking measures to counteract desiccation or eutrophication. Buffer zones need to be laid out around the core areas. Also, new areas of nature are developed, for instance, on former agricultural land. And ecological connections are developed between these core areas. For instance, by restoring or developing stepping stones and pathways in the agricultural areas such as hedgerows and shrubland, or developing areas of nature along rivers and brooks. In extreme cases of fragmentation of the landscape by infrastructural development, ecoducts or badger tunnels are built.
It's envisaged that the overall ecological network will be restored by the year 2020, and it's expected that by then, conditions for long-term survival of the ecosystems and species in the Netherlands will have been restored.